What is going on, people of YouTube? My name's Kurtyoy. Welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new preview where we look at the upcoming game week and see who's worth bringing in, who's worth taking a risk on, and in general we just look at who could score the most points, hopefully. Last week was average for me in terms of giving you tips. My team, however, I want to say nothing about that. Dreadful week, 41 points. Something hopefully I need to improve on this game week. Big clubs let me down. Liverpool only scoring 1, Spurs not even scoring. It wasn't a good week for me, and hopefully things can move on. Aguero, I think, got the points for most people. But we have got a preview this week, and as always, we are going to start off with the goalkeepers. And the 4 goalkeepers I've got for you today: Lloris of Tottenham, we've got Cech of Arsenal, Fabianski of Swansea, and we've got Kurtyoy of Chelsea. Now, some big goalkeepers there. Spurs, for the simple reason I feel like West Ham, they don't look particularly good. I think when they play against Huddersfield, granted, they are in the Premier League, they didn't look they had good chances early on, but Huddersfield generally held them off pretty well. Put a Spurs team in front of them that genuinely will be good at defending and want to put the 1-0 loss at the end of last season behind them. I feel like they could be getting a clean sheet. And Lloris, I feel like never present in the defence without Davis potentially not starting, Trippier potentially not starting. I feel like Lloris is a cheap ever-present for your Tottenham coverage. You also got Petr Cech. Arsenal might have turned the corner with their away result against Chelsea. They face a Monday Night Football task against West Brom at home, and genuinely I feel like that probably should be a clean sheet. You've also got Fabianski in there. Interestingly enough, they've got a few tough fixtures in the near-distant future, but for now they've got a few decent results, and Watford have been scoring goals. Why not put him in there? Safety. He's got potential to get a clean sheet, and he makes so many saves. You bring him in, he's your second goalkeeper, and he's going to get 3 to 4 points this game week easily if he doesn't get a clean sheet. Lastly, we've got T-Bone Kurtyoy. The man faces off against Stoke away from home. Could be tough. Granted, Man United went there, drew to all, but I feel like Chelsea will be able to go in there, they're 5 at the back formation, as they do, and just basically marshal Stoke out of the game. And that's generally where I think Kurtyoy will come in handy. A little bit of a clean sheet, cheap way into the Chelsea defence at 5.5, so if you haven't got Chelsea coverage, I think he could be a man. Next up, in a change of what we're going to do around here, we're going to go goalkeeper previews, then we're going to do something from FantasyTote, defenders, then FantasyTote, midfielders, then FantasyTote, and then attackers, and end off the video. This part, we're going to be looking at the dream team, which you get to pick 11-man team on FantasyTote. And basically, you put money behind it, you don't need to worry about prices or anything. Last week, didn't win. But this week, hopefully, I'm feeling a bit confident. I feel like a few teams screwed me over last week. This week I've got De Gea in goal, back 4 of Walker, Alonso, Valencia and Kolasinac. In the midfield we've got Sanchez, Eriksen, Mkhitaryan and Sigurdsson. Up front, Jesus and Rooney. I feel like it's going to be a good team. There's a risk going without Aguero, but alas, what will be will be. I'm sure I'll be able to get away with it. And if you guys do want to vote or do want to bet on anything Fantasy Premier League, then go into the link in the description. Fantastic website. Dream Team is one of my favourite game modes, and you'll be able to do it from there. Moving on to the defenders, we've got Marcus Alonso of Chelsea, we've got Walker of Manchester City, we've got Jones of Manchester United, we've got Norton of Swansea, Monreal of Arsenal, and Baines of Everton. Starting off with Marcus Alonso. He could be a really, really good player. Fun fact, he is a really good player. You're paying 7 million for a defender that gets defenders points, but basically is a midfielder, which I see is fantastic. Wingback sort of in that limbo phase. So I feel like Alonso is definitely worth 7.1 million. I've currently got Aspilicueta, but the temptation to use all of my my spare cash to go Alonso is there. I think if he gets a good score this week, probably will be coming in to my team. Walker also comes in at 6.5. Man City, I feel like are a team that maybe a bit underestimated in terms of FPL ownership, but this week you can see Man City at home to Crystal Palace getting a clean sheet. Maybe another 6-0, and Walker could be getting on the score sheet, on the assist sheet, and also getting a clean sheet too. Jones is another one that comes in. I said Jones or Valencia last week. I wish I'd said Valencia. Could look fantastic. But Jones, again, a clean sheet. I feel like could be getting a clean sheet against Southampton side that do like to keep a clean sheet, but don't like to score much. So next could be. I just do feel like Manchester United should be getting a clean sheet though. We've also got Norton. Swansea coverage I think is maybe key. Attacking returns potentially. A chance of a clean sheet, he could be really good. Monreal 5.4 gives you Arsenal coverage at centre back. Bear in mind, Chelsea, there's teams like that getting 6.5 million for the cheapest players, 6 million for David Luiz, 5.4 for Monreal, and he's ever present. So for me, looking at it, Monreal could be a really, really good choice, especially when they're bound to get a clean sheet tonight, or Monday Night Football, I should say. And lastly, we've got Baines, because Everton have got rid of their bad fixtures, and he's gone down 0.1, and he could be worth a little bit of risk. Next up, we've got the Fantasy 5-a-side game mode here on FantasyTote. This one is my favourite one. It's not one of my favourites, it's my favourite because I've played it 2 weeks in a row now, and I've won 2 weeks in a row, so I'm going for the hat-trick here. Not in every game, I only go on one of the featured games, but the one I bet on has always come in for me. I think I won about £27 last week, so I'm really looking forward to this week. Basically, you pick 5 teams, or 5 players, from a featured fixture, and most points wins. It's as simple as that. I only know 3 players from each team, as you are in Fantasy Premier League, which makes it a bit interesting, because let's say, for example, Man City versus Crystal Palace, you can't go full Man City. You have to pick 2 more Crystal Palace players to even things up. Me though, I've gone with Schmeichel in goal. That is simple because I feel like I could make a few saves. Also, maybe even a slight clean sheet chance. Matip in centre back, and my only defender because I feel like I couldn't have another Leicester player there, so I decided to put Matip there because I feel like Liverpool maybe got the chance of him to do something a little bit good. Mo Salah's our midfielder, simple reason, he's an attacker that's been put in midfield, which is really good for us. And then you got Vardy and Firmino up front, Vardy being my captain, because I feel like Vardy's pace could really rip Liverpool apart, and Firmino just generally because he's going to be playing up top, so should be scoring those points. But that's my 5-a-side team. Remember, FantasyTote in the description can take you there. Into midfield we go. We've got Sanchez, Carroll, Ericsson, Pereira, Mkhitaryan and David Luiz. Starting off with Alexis Sanchez. He's £11.9 million, he's most expensive midfielder, but there's a big but there. Not like Sanchez, obviously, but I feel like he could be coming back into the team. He did start the game midweek for Arsenal, so could be a little bit of a risk there. But for me, £11.9 million, see Sanchez be a really, really good option. We've also got Carroll at 4.5, gives you Swansea coverage, and he's basically going to play, so he'll be bench fodder for a lot, but good chance you pick up some points. You also got Ericsson there, fantastic player. You know he's going to be involved, and I feel like last week was a blip. This week coming back better than ever. Pereira also for Watford, a chance to attack Swansea and maybe come back into the first team. A bit too risky maybe because he may not be back to 90-minute standard, but worth maybe looking at in the future. Mkhitaryan's another one, £8.5 million, is an insane rise since the start of the season, and he's definitely one to look out for. And David Silva's another one at 8.3. That maybe could slip a bit under the radar, starting to get a bit of ownership now, and I feel like David Luiz is one that maybe in the future, and even this game week against Crystal Palace, could be scoring some big points. And lastly, my star club and star player. This is where I basically take, this is the last 2 game modes, and the star club is basically, it add up all the points that a player scored for that club and add them into one, and the team who scored the most points wins. And also basically top player is where you're just paying €5 or whatever you want to bet, and basically putting a bet on who do you think is going to score the most points in the players this week. Link them together because usually they interlink. For me, the club is Chelsea and the player is Marcos Alonso. I could see him getting a clean sheet and bombing forward and maybe even getting a goal or 2 and potentially putting him in the dream team or the top scoring player for the 2nd time this season. It's only game week 6. It's a bit of a risk, but I feel like it could really pay off. So Chelsea for the top club and Alonso for the top players for the last of my bets on FantasyTote. And lastly, we have got the attackers. We've got Aguero, Man City. Rooney of Everton, we've got Lacazette of Arsenal, Morata of Chelsea, and Tammy Abraham of Swansea. Starting off with Sergio Aguero. He's in form. He's looking brilliant, and I feel like he could score another few goals this game. I have got Jesus in my team, but he's in form, and the chances are Jesus might come off and Aguero will play the full, or at least more than Jesus. So that's why I've put Aguero in there. My personal preference is Jesus, but Aguero, 20 points last week, hat-trick, and even didn't even stop there, got an assist as well. You can't really argue with that. That's why he's in the team. We've also got Rooney. Everton's bad fixtures are over. They face off in a home game against Bournemouth. Should be goals there, and Rooney I think is going to be an ever present, as we've seen so far this season. Lacazette's another one at 10.3. He's gone down again, but realistically Arsenal's fixtures could start getting a bit better. Next 5 games are I think a chance for them to capitalise on some maybe some other teams playing some harder teams like Arsenal have done. I feel like Lacazette could be scoring a couple of goals. Morata also 10.2. Chelsea man faces off against Stoke, and I just feel like Morata and Chelsea could get a few goals in that game. And Tammy Abraham comes in for Swansea. Watford showed they can get beaten in the defence. Granted, Swansea aren't Man City, but Abraham could be the one to break down the defence the same way Jesus and Aguero did. A little bit of pace. And that happens to be that for this video. I hope you've enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know, out of the players I've suggested, who are you going to put in your teams? And if you are using FantasyTote, leave a comment and tweet me with your bets, and I'll be sure to retweet them and pass them on to the guys. But alas, it's come to the end. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Hopefully there'll be a stream tomorrow, albeit this should go up on a Thursday. But yeah, I'll see you all later. Peace.